Don't procrastinate using my videos, guys. Please.
Hey.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Matric study series. Look at my nails, guys. I did them myself. Go follow Aphrodite.bytimbo. Aphrodite.bytimbo. Go follow. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be the 4th edition in the Matric study series for you guys, and this is going to be how I studied for physics. So before I start this video, I just want to put a young disclaimer out there. I know a lot of you guys want me to do subject specific videos on how I studied for like physics or like for maths or English, but I just want to say that past a certain extent, as much as I can give you guys the tips, like it really does become more about you studying. So you can follow everything I say, but if you don't study, like you won't get a good mark. So as much as I can give you guys tips and tell you what worked for me, not to say that it's necessarily going to work for you, but hopefully it can help. As much as I can give you guys tips, it's more about the work that you put in by yourselves, for yourselves. Sit down at that desk and study. Like I don't know what more to tell you guys. It's like so much of it is about studying, but I guess what I'm here for is to help you study smart, okay, rather than harder. You can study hard, yes, that's a good tactic, but let's say you a bit pressed for time, I'm gonna help you study smart. So if you guys like this video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and be sure to turn on your post notifications so you can know when I post my next Matric study videos. I'm probably just going to post Matric study videos for the next month or so, because I know you guys are writing exams, so I'm just gonna focus on this series for the next few weeks. But yeah, so I'm just gonna quickly like outline the method that I used for myself for you guys. So what I do is I first start out by writing notes, but I'd write them throughout the year, as I said, and then I'd keep them in a good order and then store them away, so then I can look at them when it's time to write the exams, right? So I'd start by writing notes. By now your notes should already be written. If they're not already written, it's okay, you can still write notes, as long as while you're writing them you're busy studying them. You're not just writing mindlessly, you have to write with active concentration. Okay, so I wrote my notes. Then what I do is I'd go through my notes. That's the first thing I do, because I like to have a knowledge of all of the topics before I go in and attempt to practice them. You know, I'd like to give myself more a chance of doing past papers better, because sometimes the past papers are limited and I don't want to waste a past paper going in not knowing what I'm doing. Although if there are a lot of past papers, then I would do that, because if I'm pressed for time, I start with the past papers instead of the notes. Okay, so if you're pressed for time, start with the past papers, then you mark your past papers, do your corrections, sharp, go over the corrections, learn them, then your notes, then another past paper. That's only if you're pressed for time. But if you still have time, start with your notes, then do your past paper, okay? So you've written your notes, you're studying them. Now you're doing your past paper because you've studied the content. When you're done with the past paper, you mark it, go over your mistakes, go to the relevant sections again in the notes, relearn them, do another past paper, focus on the sections that you got wrong in the previous past paper, but still you're doing the whole past paper. Mark again, go through your mistakes, go to your notes, do another past paper. There are so many past papers out there, do as many as you can, okay? Especially for maths and physics, you have to do past papers. So I don't really have notes to show you guys, because as I said, I've given all my notes away, and also I don't like the place I'm at. I wouldn't pack my notes. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to actually show you guys my physics notes, I guess, from first year, and chemistry notes from first year, and show you guys how I studied. And then I'm gonna show you guys, excuse me, how you write your past papers, how you mark them, and then how you kind of like take a note of your mistakes and make sure you don't make them again. Okay, so let's start with step number 1, which is the notes, right? So the way in which I write my notes, but I'll do a separate video on that, is that I have a book where I do all my work in class and where I write the notes in class, but then I have a separate pack of notes that I write for myself at home, just to make the notes that I made in class a bit neater and a bit more structured. So I'll show you guys that. Like I said, in Matric I used to write it on white paper and keep it in a plastic sleeve, but now I keep them in books, and I'll just show you guys that. So now that I'm in varsity, I have a notebook for every subject, and they're all the same type of books, right? So I have a notebook for every subject, and this is what like my workbooks look like. So let me just show you guys what's in the workbook first. Yeah, that's just my general notes in blue pen for my workbook. I'll also turn it around so you guys can see, but yeah, this is the work I do in class. So let me just turn it around. So this is what my book looks like, my school book, and this is the work that I'm doing in class. As we go along, it obviously becomes a bit more messy, and yeah, you can tell why I'd prefer to have a separate notebook that's like more neatly laid out, and you know, but yeah, that's basically my notebook. Okay, cool. And this is my studying book. So this has better notes, and it has some color. So this is for maths. As you can see, that's maths. Physics, funny enough, yeah, this is the physics textbook, notebook, sorry, because you can see I speak about vectors there. And yeah, so this is basically how I write my notes, right? I'll have my workbook that I use in class, this one, then I'll have my notebook that I write these notes neatly for myself at home, and this is what I'll study from. Okay, so seeing as this is a physics video, I swear I might as well just use this for you guys. So as you can see, these are the notes that I'm writing. I just try and make sense of the content for myself in my own head. So there I'm just doing the definition. Oh, this is equations of motion, just memorizing them because we didn't have a formula sheet. And then yeah, the important things that you need to learn. And yeah, some more notes just explaining what is going on for myself and what I must do. So I wrote notes about the method I use. So this is basically trajectory, right? This is when you have a falling object, an object which is launched, sorry, and then at a certain trajectory, and this is basically the position time graph. That's what it looks like in the XY plane. This is the path of motion of the object. The velocity is tangential to the path at a specific point. Yeah, so that's basically what this is telling me. I'm explaining it to myself, and I'm telling myself a graph of the particle's motion is called the trajectory. Yeah, basically it's just a bunch of notes, guys. Honestly, I think you get the idea. I explain to myself what's going on. I tell myself what I need to keep note of, and then I also put problem solving strategies there for myself. I think this is very important because if you see a problem that seems similar to something that you've done before, take note of the method and you'll know very quickly what you need to do, so you won't be stuck thinking about what must happen now. So I guess this does help a lot. Just telling yourself ways to tackle a particular type of problem can really like save yourself time. So this is circular motion. I think that's still circular motion, yeah. And momentum, which we do in Matric as well. We do this in high school. And yeah, so I'm just writing my notes. Basically the definitions, these are the conservation laws, the formulae. I'm telling myself here that I can break it up into components, and then some more formulae. Basically this is the derivation of the law of momentum in terms of like Newton's second law in terms of momentum, basically. And yeah, So that's basically it, guys. These are my notes. These are what I study from. They basically tell you what to do, but for physics and for maths, notes are never enough. You have to practice them, because it's good enough to know what you're supposed to do, but if you're doing what you think you should do and you're still getting it wrong, you know what I'm saying, it's not going to help you at all. So you need to know how to apply these, and the only way you can do that is by practicing. So for physics, I'd say knowing what to do is important, but you cannot just study via notes in physics. You have to do past papers, okay? That's the most important thing. Okay, so basically now you guys have seen how I write my notes for physics. So if I were to summarize how I write my notes, I'd say that I explain what's going on, I write down some definitions, and I write down a method to tackle specific types of problems. Because basically with matric or high school physics in general, most of the time if you have a formula and you know how to tackle a problem, you're likely to get it right, okay? So I feel like for high school physics, it's very easy, very easy to figure out a pattern of how everything works. Once you have a pattern of how specific types of questions must be answered, then I'm telling you guys, it'll be that much easier for you to do better in physics, okay? So that was number one, is writing your notes and learning your notes. You learn the methods, you know, just know how to tackle the problems, and you learn the definitions. So another thing for physics that you should be studying along with your notes is your SAGs, okay? So you can find this on the IAB website, the one where I showed you. I'm going to show you guys a bit later on, for where you can also find your past papers. So your subject assessment guidelines, you're studying your notes for physics and you're studying the definitions from the subject assessment guidelines, okay? So I'm just gonna quickly show you guys a quick video of that, and yeah, tell you guys how to tackle it, how to study it. So this is the physics SAGs. I apologize for the flickering on the screen, but yeah, the physics SAGs I have from downloaded from my Matric. Yeah, open that up. Okay, so yeah, this is your physics SAGs. It's open, and this, guys, this is your holy grail for physics, guys. Listen, let me tell you. Look here, it tells you how they're marking it. For level 4 evaluation, what you need to do, you have to you have to have the ability to judge the value of the material, the ability to put parts together. So when you're studying, it's important to understand, because they might ask you to explain, you know, certain types of methods or questions. So yeah, and here's like a kind of overall of the marks that will be allocated, okay? So that also tells you which sections to focus on. As you can see, organic chemistry and electrochemistry have a lot of marks allocated to them for chemistry, okay? And for paper 1, which is physics, you can see that kinetics has the most marks allocated. Guys, look at this thing, it will help you so much, okay? So the ones that have the biggest mark allocation are the ones that you need to focus on the most. Not to say you must neglect the smaller sections, because if you do know them well, then it's easy to get those 10 marks. Like the lower marks, these 10-15 marks must be guaranteed, guys. Excuse me, those 10-15 marks, 20 marks must be guaranteed, okay? Don't neglect the 16 mark questions, or you know what I'm saying. It's very important to study everything, but if you press for time, start with the biggest sections, okay? Cool. So now you're here, you scroll down a bit. You can read through all of it because it does have very important information. And that's the scientific method, okay? And it gives outlines for your research projects also, if you need to do them. I personally didn't have to do one, so yep, please just scroll down. Okay, here's your formula sheet. The formula sheet on the SAGs is the formula sheet given in the exam, okay? They have to give you the formula sheet that they upload online. So this is the formula sheet you'll practice with when you do past papers. I suggest you download it and keep it on your laptop. Print it out if you can, but you need this formula sheet nearby. Okay, formula sheet, periodic table. Scroll down. And here we go. This is the important things. So this is where you start studying your definitions. This also helps you understand a lot of methods, okay? You must define the work as the product of the displacement and the component of force parallel to displacement. So in the exams, they can ask you to define things. So you need to know this exact definition. Work is the product of displacement and the component of force parallel to the displacement, okay? So that's how you're gonna learn all of the definitions here in the SAGs, and you can see they're written in italics. So it's easy to identify them, okay? And then read through everything. You must know everything in this document, starting from section 1, which is, I think, equations of motion. You must know up until the end of the definitions, guys. All of it, you must know it. Listen, these relationships, you must know them. Don't sleep. When you're studying, study this thing. Okay, so basically at this point, you've written your notes, you've studied them, you've looked at the SAGs, you've read through everything, you've started to memorize the definitions, okay? Now you're starting your past papers using the formula sheet from the SAGs. Always have that nearby. So now you're doing your past papers. So I will show you guys exactly where to get your past papers. You find them on the IEB website. If you're doing CAPS, the NSC one, then you just Google NSC past papers. You'll find them for any schooling system you're doing, okay? So you just Google them. I'll show you where to find the IEB one specifically, and I'll show you where you can download the past papers from if you have internet connection, or maybe you're at school and there's Wi-Fi, so you can download them from the IEB website. Basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to your web browser and you're gonna type in IEB past papers. I've already googled it there, and then you're gonna go to the first link and then click here. So then it takes you to all of the subjects. Then you're gonna find the subject you're looking for. So I want physics, and I want exam papers. I want the 2019 ones. There we go. I don't want to open. Nope, not that one. Sorry, kids. I don't want the Afrikaans paper, but I want this one. Okay, and you can download it. Save it. Open it up when it's done downloading. And there you go. That's how you get the past papers, basically. Okay, cool. So now that I've shown you guys exactly where you can find your past papers, now the next step is to do the past papers. Okay, so you're gonna answer every single question from start to finish with your past papers. Try to not refer to your notes when you're doing your past papers. Try and just do them as you would under exam conditions, with the time frame given in exam conditions. And the conditions, basically in a quiet space for 2 hours, you're gonna sit down and do this past paper, okay? Yeah, under exam conditions, you want to see how you're going to perform on the actual day, basically. So that's what you're going to do. So now that you've done your past papers, I'm not going to actually do them with you guys. You mark your past papers using the memo which is on the IB website, okay? So you've done your past papers now, and it's time to look over mistakes, okay? So this is like step number, I think, 4. So you wrote your notes, you studied them. You looked at the SAGs, you studied them. You're looking at your past papers, you're doing them. You're marking your past papers, you've marked them. You take out previous tests. You're looking at the past paper mistakes, and you're looking at your previous test mistakes. So that's number 4, is your mistakes, okay? Now we're reviewing our mistakes. So this is a chemistry type that I wrote in first year. I got 70% for it, and yeah, I don't have the exact questions, but this is a good example of something that I didn't do 100% in, and there's mistakes. You'll always make mistakes, guys, unless you're getting 100%, which I know I'm not getting. You're always gonna make mistakes. So any paper, even if you got 99%, see where you lost that 1% and make sure you never do it again, okay? So I'm just gonna go through this past paper and see where they've marked my mistakes wrong. So okay, here's another type that I did. I got 80% for this one, okay? here they're busy ticking off the things, so I know what I got wrong. This over here is wrong. So then I'm gonna look over my mistake. So basically my explanation for that was wrong. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at the memos, see what I did wrong, try and answer the question again, see if I understand why I got it wrong. Okay, that's very important, is to understand why I got it wrong. I know that I got it wrong because my reasoning was wrong. Now I know why I got it wrong. Okay, I know why the answer that I had was wrong. So now that I've corrected my mistake, I've done it again and I've understood why I got it wrong, and I know what to do to get it right. Next time, should the same question come up again, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take note of that particular question. Okay, right. So then once I've taken note of that particular question, I'm gonna write it down. Okay, a summary of all your mistakes, as well as key points. Perhaps that's something that you keep forgetting, that's like on the tip of your tongue, but you just keep forgetting it. You're gonna summarize them into a list like this. Yeah, I call them cheat sheets. I make for every subject, although for Chem Eng we were allowed to use these during tests and exams, but I make them anyway for other subjects like physics, just to quickly summarize. And this is what I use the day before the exam, the morning of the exam, instead of the actual notes, because it's a lot quicker to go through. And it's very specific. This is now a specific list of all of your mistakes and all of the things that you keep forgetting. So I'm just going to show the turn the camera around so that you guys can see. So here is a list of all the important things. Okay, I don't usually write a list that's as compact as this, but yeah, this is basically a list. Sustainability, conditions, and I like using points. Okay, if it's something that is a summary, I use points so that I get through it quickly and then I can see the flow of the train of thought that was happening when I was writing this, basically. Okay, cheat sheet, and as you can see, like I said, point form, color, numbers, you go through it quickly. Your mistakes and the key concepts that you need to remember, things that are very important that you keep forgetting. If it's something you remember, it doesn't have to be on this list, but yeah, this is just to help jog your memory and go through quickly. So now that you have a list of all your mistakes, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go through that list, go through everything it says and your key points that you've written for yourself in that list, and guess what? You start the cycle all over again. Go to your notes, look at them. Although now that you have a list of key ideas and key mistakes that you keep making, it becomes less necessary to go back to the notes, but you always have to refer to your SAGs. Okay, go back to your SAGs, read it from start to finish, do your definitions from start to finish. And the way I suggest that you study your definitions is to write them out. Okay, you have to write them out as many times as it takes for it to stick in your head, or say them out loud. But personally, for me, I don't think saying it is enough, because I need the muscle memory of writing down those definitions. So write down your definitions, look at your SAGs, do your past papers, mark them, go through your mistakes, add any new mistakes that you found to your list, look at your list again, go to the beginning, look at your SAGs, past papers, mark them, mistakes, go to your list of mistakes and key points, back to the beginning. So that's basically the ideal cycle, I'd say, for how you study for physics. And the more you do the cycle, the better your chances are of doing well in the actual exam, as long as you are doing the past papers under exam conditions. This is very important, because you can't be looking at your notes and thinking, oh, I would have gotten that, like, you know what I'm saying, or looking at the memo while you're writing the exam. No, you do it under exam conditions. You don't look at the memo and you don't look at your notes while you're writing it. So that's the best way you can see kind of what mark you're going to get in the final exam. If you can't do the past papers under exam conditions and do well, hey, matata sisi, hey, matata, hey. Then you have an issue. Then you need to study more. Okay, look at your notes, do more practice, 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 practice. That's basically all I'm gonna say. Practice, practice, practice. So thank you guys so much for watching this video and keeping up to date with the series, and I hope that you like everything that I have to say. I hope it helps you guys. Like I said, feel free to pop me a DM on Instagram. I leave my socials in the description below, which also helps for important timestamps. And yeah, if you guys like this video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and be sure to turn on your post notifications so you can know when the next video is.